All right, welcome back to another EV Hangout. Tonight, we're going to take a quick drive in the new project, the mini truck. And the mini truck is in my garage in New Jersey. This is the wiring diagram. But tonight, we're actually going to talk about your motor options. There's a lot of options all over the web lately. It's a different world now. It's not just Hyper 9 anymore. Now you got the Cascadia, and you can even get a large drive unit from a Tesla. We'll look at all different websites, and we'll take a look. All right, but quick, we're going for a ride. Tom Summers is joining us. We got Justin Homebrew in the house, and we got Talik, of course. All right,
there we go. There we go.
All right, we're going for a ride.
Starts right up. It's actually got lights and everything. Here we go. I hope we don't see the cop because I didn't get it insured or plates. But it's such a cool vehicle. It's like so much fun. This thing's like you have to drive. You're shifting on the left, and you accelerate. I'm already in fourth gear. It hauls ass. That thing's great. And just go up this hill real quick. And it's got a super slow, like low set of gears. And the gears are really well suited for climbing hills. And it's pretty amazing.
Is that a 4-speed?
It's a 5-speed, and it actually has a whole other set of gears. So it has 10 gears. So there's a low set and a high set, like almost like an overdrive, but it's kind of like almost like it was a truck, and it had 4-wheel drive as well. So It's pretty on demand, push button 4-wheel drive.
Are you gonna be able to retain that when you get your motor in there?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the idea. So I'm shifting. Now, when I go to first gear, what's nice is it has engine braking that's so good. I'm not on the brakes or the gas, and it's holding me on this crazy hill that I'm going down. It's such an incredible ride. I should mount the camera over here, right? So you can see what's going on. Let's try the remount. I didn't even need the brakes. All right, I'm going to try to remount it. All right, this is first gear, believe it or not. That's it. That's it. First gear's done. That's second gear. Second gear's done. That's it. Now
it's all right. Fourth gear.
It's
all right.
All right, we're going down the hill now. I'm going to put it back in first gear. Now watch this. No brakes, no gas, and I'm in first gear. It's holding the hill. That's how good the gear ratio is. It's built for like mountains. It's an incredible vehicle. You have an amazing amount of control. Surprisingly, I really didn't expect this good engineering on this tiny little truck. Yeah.
How many miles on it?
It says 76,000. Is that miles or kilometers?
Maybe kilometers. Huh.
Third gear, by the way. Fourth
It
gear.
looks like you're flying from here.
Yeah, right.
Well, why don't you tell us all about where did you get this K truck, and what are K trucks like? What if people don't know what a K truck is?
Oh yeah, so K truck is it's a vehicle from Japan. It is a generic term for it's KEI, and I don't know what that means, but it's a generic truck, just like we call ourselves. We have the pickup trucks. They have K trucks, and believe it or not, they are made by every manufacturer. So Honda makes one. Suzuki makes one. What's the light? This one's by Daihatsu, which is a Daihatsu, which is a I think a Toyota company, and they are incredible. And look here, they have an amazing, capability. So here's the sides come down. See that? Just like a Volkswagen.
So on Wikipedia, it's showing that K truck is short for Ketora, which means light truck or light vehicle. And I guess that makes sense because they also have K cars too, right? To fit in the small streets.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's got a small engine. The small engine is in the back here. It's like a 3-cylinder, 600cc motor. And if you look here, that's it right there. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
It's such an easy vehicle. Now, the reason that we don't have these in the U.S. normally is because they have no crash standards.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Even though you can ride around on other things with no standards. The Dosha light vehicle.
So basically, what's kind of cool about them is they're 25 years old. So because of that, they are illegal because they're classic vehicles. So converting it is going to be real nice, I think, because of the it's a lightweight vehicle. Like it's just incredible what is possible with this lightweight vehicle. I do have a Hyper 9 for it, but I got to tell you, that might be overkill. This thing is not going to need a Hyper 9. I was actually thinking about putting in the mini Hyper, and that would have 48 volts, and that would have been really cool. But I got the Hyper 9, so we're going to go with that for now and see what happens.
So I guess that's a pretty good segue into tonight's discussion about, motor choices and options out there, right?
Yeah. So tonight we wanted to talk about motor options. There's so many options nowadays. If we just getting on to the Hyper 9, let's say we use EV West website. I will use Legacy, and I'll go because they got a couple different options there that EV West doesn't have. And so on their website at least. And so if I go to motors, share this tab instead. Now obviously you've got these crazy racing motors, but I don't know anybody that's used them, but that doesn't mean someone hasn't. But what I was going to put in the K truck was this 48 volt micro. And what's kind of cool is that it takes the same programming, same controller as the regular Hyper 9. And then it's got power, and it actually has a similar amount of power than that's actually in the vehicle right now. So the gas engine, I think, is 32 kilowatt, and this is, I think, around this. This is 25. Okay, so this is 25 kilowatt. So they're kind of similar in power. But the Hyper 9's got like 88 kilowatt, so that's like a lot. So we'll see what happens. I might not even need the transmission, to be honest. I might have to do some calculations. But I'm just going to use the transmission for now. So this is an option.
So do you have a adapter plate for this one?
I can't find an adapter plate online, so I'm going to have to make one. And moving a lot slower than I realized I was originally going to move. But you know what? I rented a space, and to pay the bills, I teach all the skills that it takes to do the conversions. So I teach welding, I teach mechanics, and I teach about electric cars. So I'm busy teaching, but then also trying to do the conversion. So it's kind of like hard to do everything. In the fall, I think I'm hiring some people, so I'll move a lot quicker. So anyway, that's my excuse. But I am, the plan is to do my own adapter plate, and I'm going to do my own coupler. I'll show you how that's done. I've got a crankshaft that I'm going to use, and I'm going to lock off the end of the crankshaft. That will be my coupler. That's right here.
It's
Oh
the
yeah,
same
that's
crank
right.
for that same motor. You have the
That's the
crank
same
right?
one.
Nice, nice.
It's 100% right. And I'm going to get the pattern and I'm going to cut it. Well, not the pattern, but I'm going to cut this off, this part here, and then I will bore it on a lathe and broach it, which gives me the keyway that I need for the Hyper 9. So it's a little ambitious, but I've done it before with another truck. It was a Bergen Community College did a project, and I was the consultant on that. Consultant's a fancy word. I basically I helped them do it. That's it.
So you originally considering the micro because of why?
Well, I like the 48 volts. That's a good question. And I wanted to have this have a solar panel and an inverter for AC power. So I really wanted to get this to be like an off-grid truck. And obviously you don't have enough surface area, but believe it or not, if you got two panels, I could probably get 80 volts from 2 panels, and that might fit on the top there. And then those panels would then be enough to charge a 48 volt system. But not, I have Tesla batteries with the Hyper 9 and I'm up to 125 volts. So that wouldn't, I probably can't get to the, you have to have higher voltage to get in.
Do you have an upscaler or a step?
If you're, I don't know if you can do that. If you have DC power, that is, you might be able to, that's actually a good question. Oh, cool. You might be able to do that. That's actually a good question. But from my understanding, you have to have higher voltage to get into the batteries.
So, and also you were kind of planning on the 48 volt system being able to be like, you could hook it up to a Victron system or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that'll be probably the future. But for now, I'm going to try and do the Hyper 9 and see how it goes. Yeah, cool. Kevin Lieberman in the house. How you doing?
Very good. Thanks. How are you?
Nice. All right. We took a ride in the K truck. You missed it.
You did.
Yeah.
And you made it back?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. That thing's like, it's just smiles. That truck's great,
Is it pretty peppy even with that little engine? Because it doesn't weigh much.
What's that?
Is it still peppy with that little engine? Because it doesn't weigh much.
Oh, it's super peppy. Yeah, it's because it's got this low gear ratio. So first gear, you're done with first gear in like nothing. It's like brum, brum, brum. It's like first gear on a motorcycle. Like it really is low.
Well, it's meant for hauling, manure and things like that. So.
Probably.
Or whatever Japanese
so,
call manure.
Yeah, so we were going over motor options, and I was saying how the Hyper 9 is way overkill, but that's what I have. So we're gonna give it a shot. Yeah.
And so does that thing have 4 gears?
5 gears plus it's got a super low set. So I think there's an overdrive, not an overdrive, like what do they call it when you have a different gear ratio coming off the back of the transmission? So like everything you have, instead of 5 gears, you have 10.
Yeah, it's kind of like a low range. So
yeah, I have a low range. Yeah, you pull the thing, and then I got push button 4-wheel drive. Yeah, it's incredible. And it's got a 6-foot bed, and the bed sides fold down. I think this thing will be very popular coming up. The problem is it doesn't have any crash standards at all.
It's what?
No crash standards.
No. Well, they're not even supposed to be in the United States.
Yeah, the only reason it's here is because it's 25 years old. It's a classic.
That's the thing, though, is like they're designed for urban centers. So if we had modern US, like meant for like just driving around town, not like keep them off the freeways, because most crash stuff is freeway related, right? So
yeah,
there's a lot. I mean, you look at also the auto cycles, the 3-wheel things, they can get around that. So it'd be interesting to see if we could have modern K trucks that were just limited to not getting on the freeway, because all these last mile solutions, you know, you need 25, 30-mile-an-hour vehicles to get around these towns, and you don't need F-150s driving around the city delivering, you know, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, they can do like a low speed restriction on it, which is might be coming. It's a good idea.
They're always easy to remove. So
Yeah, this is the one.
yeah,
Yeah.
those things are cool.
Yeah,
Everybody will want one. Better get ready to convert a few more. So
I'm telling you, I know. So let's get to the topic tonight. We'll get over to the motor options.
Yeah, on that point, Ron, not to turn it into a sales pitch, but this is kind of the problem I'm trying to solve with that website I was working on, that EV part picker website that'll bring in motor options, battery options from all different vendors, instead of having to like go research from 10 different websites, and kind of pull it into one place and compare right there.
Send me the link. Let's put it on the screen.
It's not up yet. It's not up yet. But here, there's a landing page I'll send you to.
Okay, so let's talk about the concept. Justin, what do we do if can I use this? So let's say you want to pick the parts for your vehicle. Oh, here we go. We got it.
Just a landing page for now.
All right. So you're like trying to decide how to size your engine, how to size your motor, all the different stuff. Do you want to run through this? What's this all about?
So ideally, you go in there and actually select your car that you want to convert, and then we're going to try and like pull in the current motor that's in there to give us a reference point for power, the current weight of the car, and any other information that we can pull. And then you go in and either maybe you're more advanced, you know what you want, your target power, your target voltage, that sort of thing, and we work backwards from that, or we'll help guide you. So you start with either the battery or the motor, and you kind of step through, and you're looking at price, you're looking at availability or support, or whatever matters most to you, or maybe you want a whole kit. We're gonna try and pull it from all the different vendors in one place.
So for instance, how did you size the motor for your vehicle? And I know you have it's a Triumph Spitfire or T.
That's right.
Is it? Okay.
Little Spitfire 1500.
Nice.
Not anymore. But yeah, I was mostly shopping for size, physical size, less so about power. Yeah,
Okay.
you can't even see the motor, but hiding under there.
I think. Oh no, it's something else. Yeah,
it has the Motenergy, the ME1616 that you had up on Legacy's website a second ago.
Yep.
It's like a little, I think it's up top. Yeah, that one with the orange cables.
This is the one.
Kind of like a pancake. Yeah, that's it. That's it. So it's liquid cooled.
So you went with this.
Yeah. Just so that I wanted to go with like Hyper 9 or AC50, but they were too long, and I didn't want to cut into the cross member, the front cross member. So this was shorter, but we had to make an adapter plate and coupler, much like you're about to do.
And how did you do the how many kilowatts is this?
So I'm running at higher voltage than I think it's like officially rated for. So that gets me about 80 kilowatts, I think.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty decent for this size
car. 55.
Yeah, that's 55, probably at 96 volts. So I'm running at 144 volts, so I get a little bit more power out of it.
And you must have
Dude.
cooling in that motor then if you're
Yeah,
doing that. Yeah.
yeah,
I
exactly.
see there's cooling ports. Okay. How will you know when you've pushed it too far?
I don't know when the smoke comes out.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Loaded question.
Yeah.
Yeah. When the smoke comes out. I like it. So that's pretty cool. And how did you get your adapter plate going?
Made friends with a great machinist, who's local here in Southern California. And what's really nice about the Triumph engines is that they use that little plate. I think we talked about this a little
Oh
bit.
yes, it's so easy. Oh
And
my
I
God.
was able to just trace that plate. It was perfect. And then the coupler was a little challenging, but again, we used the end of the crank as a reference, and it's tiny. You know, only 4 bolts to match up.
Right, right. Yeah, MG and Triumphs, believe it or not, they actually give you the adapter plate. This is what it looks like. It's a plate because their transmission and their engine needed to be adapted because they're not matched the way like an American car would be matched, like with a bell housing that's specific to that. Yeah, here we go. This is it right here.
That's it right there.
Yeah. This was a car I worked on with Zach and Jesse from the Now You Know channel. This was years ago. And I think they actually finished it. But in the meantime, I was like, oh my God, all our answers are right here. Hey, you know, that might be the case with the K truck. I just don't know yet. I haven't taken it apart yet.
Oh, that would be
So,
perfect.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I'd be so excited about that. But anyway, either way, I'll have to do something. It's always fun when you're doing the conversion because like you get to like rip around on the gas first and then just like try it out, you know, and you're like, oh, maybe I should just leave it gas. But then you're like, oh my God, this will have like triple the power. And I won't have to do oil changes and stuff. And you're like, okay, screw it. I'll do electric.
Yeah.
Plus you get to charge on the sun. It's so much more fun. Anyway, pretty cool. So and how did you do the coupler?
Same thing, except there was a lot of room to make up between the motor and the transmission. So after, you know, measuring 3, 4, 5 times, figuring out the right gap, and same thing, used a broach to get the key on the motor side, and yeah, flywheel side was a little easier, just tapping those bolts.
And what about the magic number? You know about that?
Yeah. Although I had a couple of reference points, it was a little hard to measure because the crankshaft flange was actually inset from that plate we just looked at. I don't know if it was the same on that motor you were working on, but so there was that reference, and then the distance from the plate to the flywheel was another reference that we tried to match after everything was said and done.
Okay. It's so funny they call it the magic number. It's basically the distance from the bell housing out to the flywheel. Am I right?
Yeah.
That's it. It's not like magic.
Yeah. I mean, you can use any fixed, you know, any 2 fixed positions that are still going to be there when the car's electric.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I think Bream's definition is from or maybe Kevin knows better, but
I
Let's
mean,
see.
it's
I'm
been
pretty sure.
referred to that comment, but in anything engineering wise, if you throw magic or hope in there, it means you know what the hell you're doing.
So Ron, should we go over like what sort of like logic path you would do when choosing a motor, like because there's a lot of considerations. Are you bolting onto an existing transmission? Are you creating a new axle? What's your power amount, right? Because we have different voltage steps. So what sort of flow chart should people go through when they're picking a motor?
All right, I think you go straight to the horsepower of the existing engine. So for instance, if you do the K truck, and we go to the K truck, right, and that is right here, okay, and we say, okay, so what's the engine here? Let's see, engine. All right, it's let's see, I've got this one. I'm pretty sure it's this one. If you click on that, and you just get your when you have the 660 cc engine. Anyway, to go through all this would be hard, but it ends up being the kilowatts, I believe, is 32. Oh yeah, this is the one right here. So 32 kilowatts. So you're like, well, what the hell is a kilowatt? 32 kW to horsepower, and you get yourself 40. The answer is 42. That's the. Does anybody know that?
The meaning of life.
Oh, that round that up, that's 43. So
yeah, that's 43.
Roughly, kilowatts are 75% of a horsepower, right? So if you have 750 watts, that's 1 horsepower. Or sorry, you have right? You have 1 horsepower is 750 watts.
Yes.
Yeah.
100% right. So if you're say 42, all right, well, what motor is going to pull me? What motor is going to pull me? What am I going to do here? So like this one here, this Mini is 25K. So that would be okay. But although I will say it's going to be even though that's peak, I think it's going to pull more often. It's probably got a better curve. Although you can look at the torque curves as well. You see here? So you could say, okay, where's the peak? Compared to
you got a different tab up?
Oh yeah, sorry. So let's see, power. That would be the orange line. And it will peak out like that. Let's see, which one is the S2? Okay. Well, just in the interest of time, it's continuous 5.5. So this might be a little underpowered, but it would probably do all right. But if you want to do something different, you want to have you always want to double or triple your power if you're going to go electric. So if you throw a Hyper 9 in there like I am, this is going to be 88. Let's see. Do you guys see the kilowatts here? It's going to be like 88 kilowatts or 90 kilowatts. So based on the design.
Well, one thing, someone might logically just say, well, can you take 2 of those smaller motors and just put them together and put them on a single controller? And my understanding is no, they each need their own controller. So
yeah,
I think the controllers slave off of a single gas pedal, and that's meant to do that. But you can't just stack up motors with a single controller and expect it to work.
Yeah, so this will peak out at 88 kilowatt, but it has, that comes out to be like 120 horsepower. So I mean, this is going to do a lot better. On the fly, it's hard to find the continuous versus the peak, but this is going to do a lot better. So if it were me, I would start with what kind of power do you want? And then the second thing I would do is I would say, well, how are you going to power this thing? So do you have the room for a set of Tesla batteries, or do you have the room for a set of batteries that you're going to put in there? You don't have to have Tesla batteries. You could use something else. You could use So many different types of batteries nowadays. I mean, if you just go to Jehu Garcia's website.
Because so with your pathway, you're talking about figure out the power you need, and then you pick a motor, and then you have to look at the voltage of the motor, and then size your battery to get the voltage to the motor. Correct?
Yeah, you need voltage, and then you got to think about your kilowatts. So like how it's like how fast, and then how long do you want to go for? You know. So we'll throw it back to Justin for a moment. What's your kilowatt pack in your conversion?
I have 6 Tesla modules, 144 volt. I think that's about 31, 32 kilowatt hours.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
The other thing to consider is like we were just talking, whether you want to make an adapter plate and coupler made it to your transmission, or do you want to like use a Tesla motor or anything else that's either, you know, direct drive or, you know, straight out to the wheels, really.
Oh, well,
and how much
okay,
fabrication do you want to do, you know?
Right. So let me interrupt you there, because that's true. But once you've chosen your power, let's say you're like, you know what? I want it to be 250 kW.
Right. You only have one option.
I don't think there's anything. I don't know if there's anything that bolts onto your transmission any longer. Now you're getting rid of that transmission, and now you're not just doing an engine swap. Now you're doing a drivetrain swap.
Right.
Because at that point you got to worry about how much torque you're putting out and whether that the original transmission can handle the torque, right?
Yeah, not just that. There might not be motors available, and then the ones that are available in a total solution like a Tesla drive unit, or like we just rolled over a few times is they have the options now, like a complete revolt system. I mean, that's going to be like 650. It's going to be like 600 horsepower, I think.
Yeah, 600 horse. Yeah.
Up to 450 kW. But now you're rebuilding the car. Like the car doesn't have the same no transmission. Totally different situation.
But that's a really good solution for rear-wheel drive. You can, assuming your rear transaxle can take the torque, you know, that can yoke out to your rear differential, right?
Totally.
So the other thing I'm kind of bringing up, so Ron was talking about, he looks at it from power first and then figure out how to supply the power and how deep a tank you want. I think from my experience of talking to like a lot of shops, they deal with clients who they have a range figure in mind first, and then they pick a motor to fit the battery capacity for range. So I think it kind of depends which angle you're coming at from, because if you're a power guy, you're probably thinking power first, and then, oh, how far can I go on the power I can supply, or how much room do I have? But, you know, I bet you a lot of shops are dealing with clients that are like, it just needs to have better power than the original, and I want to go 200 miles, you know? So, and then you're trying to match up packs of certain ranges, but then the voltages of that pack, you then have to pick a motor based on your battery choice. So tonight we're really talking about motors, but there's kind of a moving Venn diagram of, you know, power, voltage, range, capacity. It all kind of, it's sort of like you're picking a character in a video game. Like, what kind of stats do you want? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's great. It's hard to, you know, what people do is they say, well, why should I have a Tesla motor? What's the threshold? Essentially you're asking, should I do 400 volt architecture with a drivetrain swap, or should I do an engine swap with like 100 to 150 volts? So which way are you going? Where's the threshold? And the threshold really lies in how much power do you want? You know, in my opinion, but it's true. You could come at it from a range perspective.
So we have Johnny 5 here. He hopped on and he's done multiple conversions here. He's conversion expert over here. Johnny, what is your philosophy when it comes to picking or a motor, do you start with what kind of battery do you have, or what kind of power do you want, or whatever do you do?
I usually pick with, well, powered. I always like as much as I can get. But I kind of look at it too as like, what's the easiest and cheapest, and what's most used. So, like, I always go to Tesla or Nissan Leaf stuff because it's out of a stock vehicle, and I always love using stock vehicle parts, especially when it comes to the charger or DC-DC, not just the motor, and of course the batteries too. So that's kind of what I do. As far as with anything I build, and I always try to keep it 400 volts because I'm doing a bug right now, a 66 Beetle with an AC50, and it's kind of weird. It's almost like I'm building an e-bike, and I don't like it because I know it's not going to have very much power, and I know the voltage is so low that I have to use a transmission, and that's kind of like, it just seems really old school to go that direction anymore. I'd rather, if I were to do that bug again, I would just put a Tesla motor in it and call it a day, because I can get parts for those all day.
Yeah. So don't let this video fool you. Johnny likes the color red, and he painted his AC50 red. So that's not what is that? A Warp 9 is usually painted red. So that's not
AC50.
Yeah, so that's not a DC motor in there. That is still an AC50 sitting there in his Beetle.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Cool.
Yeah,
it looks cool. It stands out.
I mean, it's gonna be a nice car. It's just it's something I'll never do again, but it'll still be like a cool setup and a good basic.
It's a round town cruiser. It's not gonna be a race car. It's
yeah, exactly.
And the advantage of the lower voltage is just that you don't need as much battery space, I'm guessing. I mean, you can get smaller 400 volt packs, but
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So, Ron, can you bring up that Legacy Nissan Leaf package again? I want to see what Johnny's thoughts are on this package from Legacy is.
Mm-hmm.
So, Johnny has some recent experience with Nissan Leaf motors. We won't say what project that was, but so what's the main difference in terms of like a Nissan Leaf motor? And there's a couple of them, right? There's not just one motor for Leafs.
Yeah, there's the EM61, the EM57, and then another one. But the 61 is kind of nice because the inverter and the motor and everything separates. Even the motor from the gearbox separates, so they're kind of cool. And then the EM57, I think, is kind of more stuck together, but I think you can still remove the inverter, but not the gearbox from the motor.
Okay, so this package looks like it's using the EM57 version.
Okay, that's still a great motor.
So right here we have a full package from Legacy: battery, motor, controller, everything you see on the screen here for 10 grand.
That's,
what do you think?
Honestly a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for what you're getting, kind of a turnkey, kind of like just obviously you got to fabricate the thing into your car, but that makes it pretty sweet that it's that plug and play.
Yeah, and then on Gassing Over Snow, when we looked at the Jaguar, there's also a plug and play kit that they installed in I think it was 2 days or 10 days. It was like 10 days or less. They came over, installed it, and it was the first one they did in the U.S. So, Ron, can you find Electrogenics? They have a plug and play kit for Jaguars. Jaguar.
Cool. Super cool.
Having plug and play is pretty cool. Now, that's assuming you have the room for the plug and play to fit.
That seems like a very good truck scenario with that Leaf setup.
Yeah.
Like another Hilux would be great for something like that, or a Ranger or whatever.
Click on that Jaguar kit though. So a lot of lot of purists are, they're anti-electric just because they feel like you're desecrating you're cutting up the body or whatever, or the frame. But this bolts into existing mounting points and it's fully reversible. So if for some reason you wanted to go back to the leaky Jaguar motor system, you can. And so it just doesn't damage the original Jaguar chassis, but yeah, it offers the reliability of not having to, worry about oil leaks and oil changes on your classic Jaguar. And obviously they have drivetrains for Land Rovers here as well. But yeah, we're definitely starting to see more of these plug and play, non-invasive options to converting your classic vehicles here. And we also, they talk about on Top Gear all the time too, the reliability of Land Rovers. Once you put electric in there, your Land Rover is going to be a little bit more reliable than it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's a lot more options now. And now, what do you think if you're doing, let's say you're just trying to decide between the 400 volt architecture and let's say the 100 or 150 volt architecture, what do you think about a third option of 48 volt for a low speed, let's say on the mini truck, but 48 volts would hook up to your AC inverter, so you could do like off grid systems easier? Or is it just you just get a 12 volt AC inverter and then this way you just hook up to your regular 12 volt anyway and don't worry about the pack voltage?
Yeah. That seems like a very case specific type thing.
Okay.
If that's what you really want to, if that's what you want to do with the vehicle, then that sounds like a pretty cool deal. But if you want it for more of a vehicle, then I would just stick with the higher voltages.
Got it.
Or you could just do a separate system on the truck itself for
oh yeah, I see. Yeah. And is there any merit to changing your 12 volt into, let's say, a 48 volt system? Although it'd be hard to find parts for that, right?
With the current stuff, 12 volts fine. Going to 48 volt, until those components start coming out with the voltage regulators and stuff already in them.
Oh yeah,
I'll just stick with 12 volt.
Right.
All right, cool. The ecosystem around it is what makes it tough right now until the 48 volt architecture starts to really, come around.
Nice. All right, we got a hand up from Tom. I think he's in the Garando, which is like a car garage.
Yeah. I really like Johnny's input about bugs and moving on from that, stale old style. I would like to bring everybody's attention to the latest Solarola video where the guy put a motor on a farm tractor and just used 48 voltage, a 48 volt pack. Really cool video. A simple case of build what you got laying around, which, for the guys that were tripped out by the Lemons people and those of us that deal with junk and used parts and people's cast off stuff. I like that idea of use what you got laying around or what somebody else has laying around.
Totally. Yeah, sometimes you just got to do it. It's a good idea. Let's go to Kevin. Kevin has chosen his vehicle. I don't think it was based on power. I think it was based on availability.
Well, it depends which one of my vehicles you're talking about. So,
okay, let's do both.
Right. Well, so both the Torque and the Humbug have a DC 9-inch motor, I believe, which was just kind of what was there when I got it. If I was doing this again, I certainly would not go DC. You can push a lot of power through them and they have a ton of torque, but you get no regen. You got brush dust and things like that. So old technology, old way to go. If I was doing it again, I would go Hyper 9. If I was doing it again and money was no object, I would go with a Tesla drive unit.
Yeah, there's considerable costs. Although I will say the costs are coming down for these 400 volt systems. It's pretty incredible what's happening out there.
Oh yeah, I was just looking at packs today with Johnny. We're seeing, standard range packs at like $2,000 for, that's like 50 kilowatt hours for $2,000. Grant, but then you have
the Model 3, right?
Yeah, and then you're dealing with the long stick. So there's also a size component. So in the mix here, or sorry, a volume.
This is the most shocking part right here. Are you ready for this? This is a Nissan Leaf. I believe this has everything, and it's 10 grand.
Wow.
It is shocking, especially since you can go buy a crashed Leaf for about $5 grand right now. So yeah.
Oh,
I mean, can you imagine picking up a Fisker these days? For you find a Fisker, like let's say you get one of those super cheap Fiskers for 10 grand, you get a huge battery. But now the problem is hacking the controller, right? Nobody knows how to control a Fisker right now.
So you get an onboard charger, you get a 30 kilowatt pack, you get an 80 kilowatt motor and inverter, you get a DC to DC, you get a CHAdeMO charge port, a Nissan Leaf accelerator pedal, and a water pump. And that's all ready to go, like hacked, new software, whatever it takes. And I mean, that's pretty good.
Whose kit is that?
Legacy.
Okay, so that does have it has their communication board in there.
Right. You
So
can
do they
use existing gearbox to run half shaft axles for front wheel drive or rear wheel drive donor vehicles. Alternatively, use a torque box for single speed gear reduction or manual transmission adapter plate if you wish to retain the factory transmission. Yep.
Do they sell that without the battery?
Probably. Let's see. Just go to motors. I don't see it here. I see a lot of Cascadia. No, I don't see that, but maybe. Yeah. Pretty interesting, right? Yeah. So that's integrated motor inverter units. Oh, here we go. Cascadia. Oh, okay. What's this? Oh, look at that.
Now on the Leaf, you see a big stack there because it's the motor, controller, and usually charger on top of each other. But there are kits to separate those, which make them lower.
So I don't see the Leaf there, unless like the Cascadia is not the Leaf. It just looks like the same sort of stack.
So what sort of options does Cascadia offer? Because I feel like that's the brand we talk the least amount on this channel. We talk about
That's true. I don't really know much about them.
Yeah, we talk about AC50s once in a while. We talk a lot of Hyper 9s. We talk a lot of large drive or even Model 3 sometimes. But, does Cascadia have a wide range of voltages available?
Let's find out. They look cool. They look great. I mean, look at this.
That link I sent earlier is a Facebook link of this guy in Canada that wants to sell a bunch of Cascadia motors with gear reduction boxes. And since he's in Canada, I'm like, that's going to be too much trouble. But
by the way, the Ford Super Cobra Jet Mustang uses 4 Cascadia motors in there to get to, I think, 1,800 horsepower.
Are they all like in a line or one per?
So
wheel?
there's two in tandem, and then they're connected with a gearbox, or like a vertical. So there's two on top, two on bottom, and then they're combined, and then that goes to the drive shaft. Ron, if you go to F the Pump's YouTube channel, he has a video where they show the engine bay. But it's funny, it says four motor controllers, and it's putting it out to the rear wheels, 1,800 horsepower to the rear wheels.
Wow.
Yeah,
Right. So we'll divide that by 4. It was a more reasonable amount for a
exactly.
car, but
But it's
All right,
interesting.
so here's
that
all the
Ford-
motors.
It's interesting that Ford chose Cascadia rather than some other motor manufacturer.
These are really cool pictures, but they don't have, I don't see stats. I mean, they look awesome. There's just a lot of options now. We got to get Cascadia Motors on here. Tell us what's going on.
for sure.
Here's the catalog.
And then also in the mix, kind of up and coming, is Maverick TV, right? He's making a bunch of he's kind of covering both bases. He's covering the low voltage as well as the 400 volt, right?
Yeah. Mavericks on everything. Oh, here we go. So here's one, 225 kW. And that'll bolt probably to a transmission if you want.
Look at that continuous.
Oh yeah, continuous
I don't know what
power. Yeah, that's a lot of
kilowatts, but
what?
I don't know how Newton meters converts to kilowatts, but that's a
Oh
lot
no,
of-
you could do Newton meters as torque.
yeah. Okay.
30. Someone want to do the conversion? Here's another one. Here's a 210 made with Borg Warner. I mean, it's legit. Where's Cascadia based out of?
I think they're Pacific Northwest, I think.
503.
Oh, yeah, I think that's Oregon. No.
Oh. I mean, this is great.
We
There's
also
so
need
many
to
options.
find- some of these companies don't want to sell to hobbyists. I mean, you can always find the motors eventually, but they don't want to sell to hobbyists, and then they don't want to support them for sure.
Speed reducer. It's basically the middle part of the of a Tesla.
Well, you get a 3-to-1 reduction, so
Borg Warner Motors.
Yeah.
Wow. Look at this. 360 kW. These must
Not
be
bad.
cheap. Yeah, I mean it's pretty wild.
And then there's also NQM, right? Is that a
UQM.
UQM? Sorry, yeah, UQM. Because that's what's in. I believe they have that in the E-Star and also the world record bike that Maddie, the Welshman,
Oh yeah.
I believe that has a UQM in it.
Yeah, 100% true. This is wild. Look how much power this thing has. The voltage is normal voltage is 660.
Wow.
That's probably meant for trucks.
Yeah, this is like it says 300. Yeah, it's a 250 kW. There's just so many options now. Basically, yeah, you got to start with what you're looking to do, and then as far as distance goes, that's just basically on how many kilowatts you're burning as you're driving down the road. Model Y, I think burns 3 miles per kilowatt around there, maybe a little bit better. Is that right, Talik?
Yeah, on average, depends how fast you're going. If you're going above 80, you're probably going about 3. My lifetime average is around 3.66.
Ooh.
So I get about 3
Hypermile.
points. Well, no, actually I don't hypermile a lot with my Tesla. If I did, I'd be closer to the rated range of the Model 3 of
Yeah.
I think it's around 240 watt hours a mile is what it's rated
Yeah.
for, which is, that's that whole combined EPA cycle. But my real world lifetime is like 273, 274. It bounces back between that, which if you do the math is about 3.66 miles to the kilowatt hour.
Nice.
So, and a Model 3 is even better.
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, I would just take 3, but if you got a like a slippery car or you got a bricky car, then you got to decide how much you're burning. And then if you got, let's say, 10 kilowatts in the tank and you're burning, you're doing, let's say you're doing 3 miles to the kilowatt, you only got 30 miles, So a slippery car is real good. But, the bus is a fun car. It's not that slippery, but I wonder what the kilowatt is or how much you burn on that. That'd be pretty good to find out.
Yeah, well, we know the range is about 70 miles. What is it? 5.5 kilowatts per brick. So
3 is a good round number.
3.
Yeah, we need to
Yeah.
we should do a range test do an efficiency test video with the bus.
Tom's done the range check lots of times.
Yeah, but we need to get it on video though. We need to make an adventure where we don't kill the battery.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you're the official videographer, and you're invited. And by the way, we're having a work party on Friday to reassemble the battery pack.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At
and
the
furthermore,
EVLC.
while we're on the subject, Ali got temporary registration and a temporary plate today, and the paperwork has been sent to Sacramento. So don't ever underestimate the power of a dealer / broker to help you out with the paper chase. And that's what Ali is. He's a full on car dealer now, and that's a big step here in California.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
Not
he can
easy.
help me with my stupid scooter problem where I owe more in DMV back fees than the thing is worth. So I'm going to have to sell it in Nevada because I got no other option. But maybe he's got an idea. So
He's perfect, man. I mean, he's like honey. He goes in and sweet talks these DMV minions. He's amazing.
Cool.
don't want to get off.
So let's just wrap up. So you guys are having a build party coming up Friday, and then there's a class on the 16th, which I'm planning on either coming for that or just right after. And then I have a class. It's kind of an experiment because I haven't run a class here in this building yet. I'm running a class on the 11th. It's just going to be a one-day class, really just informative. I've got all the equipment, and that will be on the 11th here in New Jersey. And then what else is coming up? Anybody else got anything they want to announce? And then we'll wrap it up. Alex probably got something.
Well, I mean, nothing that can be, by the time this is posted, will be not passed. Well, we got the Zero Run with SoCal EVs coming up in October. We have EV Fest in SoCal, September 8th. Definitely check that out, SoCalEVs.net or SoCal EVs on Instagram. Got a big EV Fest happening. We had the one in April, but this one in Irvine is going to be even bigger parking lot, more people coming out. We want to get as many conversions there as possible. So yeah, definitely check out SoCal EV Fest, September 8th in Irvine. It's going to be at the park that they converted from the El Toro Marine Air Station. So
Nice.
cool.
And then Justin, when is this thing ready? The EV part picker.
We're shooting for the end of the year. There's still a lot of work to
Okay.
do.
What can we do to help out?
I'll let you know. I might need some testers for sure.
All right. All right. Good. All right. Cool. Let's wrap it up. Keep it short, and we can always do an after game for a little bit. All right. That was the EV Hangout. Thanks for coming in. We got the excitable Tom Summers. We got Justin Homebrew, Kevin, the Torque Monster, and Mr. G from New Jersey. Wrapping it up. Oh, and of course, the co-host, Colin Charge Positive. All right. And we'll end it right there.